There's a certain kind of silence that only happens on long road trips. A peaceful hum, somewhere between the sound of the tires and the rustle of snack bags in the back seat. That's the kind of morning we were having. It was just after 7 a.m. The sky was gray but gentle, and the highway ahead of us was nearly empty. We had music playing low, the same road trip playlist we'd used since the kids were in diapers, a mix of soft pop, 90s throwbacks, and the occasional Disney song that slipped in no matter how many times I tried to delete it. I was driving, I always do. Sam's braking makes me nervous, and motion sickness is one of my lesser-known superpowers. Besides, driving gave me a sense of control, of direction, especially when the rest of life felt like a juggling act. Sam sat beside me, calm and unreadable as always. One hand cradled a travel mug of half-warm coffee, the other scrolling through Spotify like it was his job to find the perfect vibe for every stretch of road. He looked relaxed, even a little sleepy, but steady. Sam was always steady. In the backseat, well, chaos. 3 kids, ages 5, 7, and 10. My youngest, Ellie, was singing Let It Go off-key and at full volume. My middle one, Lucas, was fiercely defending his invisible seat border with dramatic sighs and finger-pointing. And Ava, the oldest, had decided to count every billboard we passed and kept loudly reminding everyone that real Canadians say Z, not Z. There were juice boxes rolling around on the floor, goldfish crackers wedged between seat cushions, and someone had definitely stepped on a fruit snack at some point because it was now part of the carpet. It was noisy, messy, alive. And weirdly, it was exactly what I'd hoped for. See, the goal for this weekend was simple. Survive a family reunion without anyone crying in the bathroom. That was the bar. That was the dream. Hug some relatives, fake smile through potato salad, and get back home with at least one clean pair of socks. The reunion was on my parents' side, in Canada. We were going to cross the border later that morning, spend the weekend doing quality time with people I mostly knew through holiday newsletters and passive-aggressive Facebook comments. Truthfully, I wasn't looking forward to it, but I wasn't dreading it either. It was routine, and routine, even the uncomfortable kind, can be oddly comforting. I didn't feel any sense of foreboding, no tightness in my chest, no sudden unease. If anything, I was grateful. Grateful that the kids weren't fighting harder. Grateful that Sam looked calm. Grateful that for once we were early for something. I didn't know this would be the last moment of peace for a very long time. Because just as I adjusted the rearview mirror to check on the kids, Sam leaned toward me, voice low but razor sharp. Turn the car around. Now. It wasn't what Sam said that scared me. It was how he said it. No raised voice, no panic, just a whisper. Low, flat, controlled. Turn the car around. Now. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. My heart didn't race, not yet. It paused, as if it were holding its breath. "Why?" I asked, almost smiling, the way you smile when you think someone's joking but don't quite get the punchline. Sam didn't answer. He didn't look at me. He didn't blink. His eyes were locked on the road, unmoving, like something ahead terrified him, or maybe confirmed something he already feared. Then, softer, almost apologetic, "Please, just turn around." That's when I knew. It wasn't a joke. It wasn't even a request. It was a warning. A quiet, trembling warning wrapped in a voice I'd never heard from him before. Sam is calm. Sam is steady. Sam once extinguished a kitchen fire with a dish towel and barely blinked. But now his entire body had gone stiff. Not like fear, but like readiness. I didn't understand, but I didn't need to. Sometimes trust doesn't wait for answers. I took the next exit, and as the car curved gently away from the highway, I felt the world shift. Not loudly, just quietly wrong. The exit came into view like a lifeline, unmarked, quiet, and easily missed. I turned the wheel gently, not speaking. Sam still hadn't said another word. The tires hummed as we left the main road, the smooth highway giving way to an uneven side lane that wound into tall trees and thick silence. No more cartoons. No more bickering. Even the kids had gone quiet, as if they too sensed that something wasn't right. My palms were damp against the steering wheel. My mind raced with questions, but my mouth stayed closed. The further we drove, the more the air felt heavier, thicker, like we were sinking into something we couldn't see yet, but it was waiting. I glanced over at Sam. His jaw was clenched, eyes locked ahead. Not panicked, just braced. Like a man walking into a storm he knew was coming. That was the strangest part. It wasn't fear I saw in him. It was certainty. Certainty that something ahead was wrong, and that we'd barely escaped it. The GPS recalculated. "Rerouting," it chirped. But even the voice sounded hollow, artificial, out of place. There was something about that stretch of road, winding and empty, that felt like a threshold, like the edge of something bigger. I didn't know it then, but we hadn't just exited the highway. We'd exited the world we thought we knew, and there was no going back. The road curved left, then right, then dipped into nothing. No signs, no streetlights, no other cars, just gravel, trees, and silence. We were driving down what looked like an access road, the kind maintenance trucks use when no one's watching. A road not meant to be found, not unless you're lost, or running from something. The deeper we went, the more the world began to disappear behind us. No gas stations, no fences, no proof that civilization had ever existed. It felt like the world had gone quiet, not peacefully, but unnaturally. Even the birds were silent. I kept my eyes on the road, but my knuckles had gone white from how tightly I gripped the wheel. My breath was shallow, my heartbeat off rhythm, as if it knew something my brain hadn't caught up to yet. Sam still hadn't said a word. But he leaned forward just slightly as if bracing for something, watching the trees, watching the shadows, like he expected someone or something to appear at any moment. The kids were whispering now, asking where we were going, why the road was different. I gave them an automatic answer. We forgot something. They didn't believe me. I didn't believe me either, because the truth was sinking in. We weren't just driving away from something. We were driving toward a truth I wasn't ready to face. Sam unbuckled his seatbelt, opened the door, stepped out without a word. I sat there still gripping the wheel, trying to swallow the knot in my throat. He walked to the back of the car, popped the trunk, and disappeared from my view. I couldn't see what he was doing, just heard the soft thud of bags shifting, the creak of the trunk hinges, and the quiet crunch of gravel under his feet. Then, after a long pause, he returned to my window. Calm, still, but something in his eyes had changed. He didn't ask, he didn't explain. "Can you come out?" he said. "I need you to see this." I got out slowly, my legs shaky under me. The wind was still. The woods around us made no sound. He walked me to the back of the car, opened the trunk again. No words, just motion. He pointed to the red duffel bag, the one my father had handed us that morning. I stared at it. It looked so ordinary. But when Sam unzipped it, folded back a sweatshirt, I forgot how to breathe. Inside were plastic packets, clear, sealed. Some loosely stuffed inside a child's toiletry bag, nestled right next to our cooler full of juice boxes, right beside our daughter's stuffed animal, right under our son's lunch. Not hidden, not protected, just sitting there, waiting to be found by someone else, by Border Patrol, by the wrong person. And then we wouldn't be a family on a road trip. We'd be a headline. I took a step back from the trunk. The gravel crunched beneath my shoes, but it felt distant, like I wasn't standing there, like I was watching it all happen to someone else. My chest didn't rise, my lungs wouldn't move. The world hadn't changed, but I had, because in that moment, the truth wasn't loud. It didn't scream, it whispered. They put that in our car. My voice was quiet, thin. They put that in our car? Sam didn't answer. He didn't have to. I looked down again. The red duffel, the packets, the stuffed animal. And suddenly I saw the whole picture, not just the bag, the plan, the manipulation, the betrayal. With the kids, I added. My voice cracked on the word kids, as if saying it made it real, as if my own breath couldn't bear the weight of it. Sam nodded once. No emotion, just confirmation. They had used us, not metaphorically. Not emotionally, literally, physically. My parents had packed illegal substances into our trunk, into a car carrying their daughter, their grandchildren, like it was nothing. Like we were disposable. They didn't just cross a line, they demolished it. And I stood there frozen in the middle of a forest road, realizing this wasn't carelessness, this wasn't desperation, this was a choice. And I had almost driven us straight into ruin because I didn't want to question them. Looking back, I don't remember warmth. I remember polish, presentation, theatrical lighting. Growing up in my parents' house was like living inside a showroom. Everything looked perfect, but nothing was meant to be touched. We didn't live well, we looked like we did. There were years when the power was cut off, but the lawn was always manicured. Our fridge was full of condiments, not food. And our Christmas cards, always stunning. My parents didn't chase stability. They chased image. If we appeared generous, we were kind. If we smiled at church, we were good. If our car was new, no one had to know it was leased on a payment plan we couldn't afford. It didn't matter that we were drowning, as long as we drowned in style. And I, little Claire, was the quiet observer in all of it. I used to think we were just a little quirky, but now, years later, I realize we weren't eccentric, we were desperate. Desperate to be seen as something we weren't. And the most terrifying part? It worked. People admired us, envied us, thought we had it all together. And no one, not even me, ever asked what it was costing us to keep up the act. My sister was the kind of person who could set a couch on fire and still get asked to host the party next weekend. She was magnetic, wild, unpredictable in the way that made people lean closer instead of backing away. She walked into rooms like she owned them, smiled like every mistake was just a charming story waiting to be told. And my parents, they loved her for it. She was chaos dressed in charisma, and they couldn't get enough of her. Me, I was the boring one. That's what they called me sometimes, behind my back, sometimes right to my face. I was the quiet one, the steady one, the one who color-coded her homework and actually remembered doctor appointments. I was too serious, too tense, too grown up for my own good. They said it like it was a flaw, and maybe for a long time I believed them. But now, with that red duffel bag still burned into my memory, I finally see it for what it was. I wasn't boring. I was responsible. I was the one who filled out the insurance forms, who helped them refinance the house, who wired money when my sister got fired from her 4th job in 2 years. I wasn't the star. I was the glue. The quiet, invisible glue holding a family together that never once admitted it was falling apart. It started with a phone call. My mother's voice was gentle, too gentle. She only used that tone when she wanted something. She said my nephew, her grandson, was struggling in school, that he wasn't fitting in, that the public school system was failing him, that he needed a fresh start, a private school, an exclusive one that came with emotional promises and a very real price tag. They'd already gotten him conditionally accepted, she said. They just needed to pay the deposit. Just the deposit, she repeated. Of course, they couldn't afford it. But as she reminded me, we could. Sam and I had a little extra, right? My stomach dropped. I didn't say no right away. I hesitated because I love that kid. But I also knew this pattern, how it starts and how it ends. So I said no. gently, like speaking to someone holding a loaded weapon made of guilt. I can't pay for private school, Mom. I'm sorry. We have 3 kids. We're barely keeping up. The phone went quiet, frozen. Then, of course, I forgot. You have your rules. Click. No calls after that. Not for days. Not until the reunion came up. Then, suddenly everything was sunshine and warmth again. They were excited to see us. Everything was working out. I didn't ask how, didn't want to. And just before we left, my dad handed me a red duffel bag. "Car's too full," he said. "Can you take this one for us?" I didn't even look inside, because sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is trusting people just because they share your blood. We didn't speak on the drive back, not a word, not even between us. The kids had fallen asleep in the back seat, unaware that the world had shifted beneath them, unaware that their parents' silent, steady Aberdeen had just driven away from something that could have ruined all 5 of us. The bag sat in the trunk, like a bomb we hadn't diffused, like guilt zipped in nylon. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I just drove. It wasn't until we pulled into my parents' driveway that I realized I wasn't afraid. I was done. Sam got out first, opened the trunk, I followed. We didn't knock, we didn't wait. I reached behind the fake rock where the spare key had always been still taped underneath like nothing had changed. We let ourselves in. The house smelled like old coffee and scented candles, too clean, too sweet, too staged. We placed the red duffel just inside the front hallway, didn't unzip it, didn't leave a note. We didn't need to. The message was in the silence. We closed the door, locked it, got back in the car. Still no words. But there was peace in the silence this time. A different kind of silence. Not fear, not confusion. Clarity. Later that night, after the kids were in bed and the world was still again, my phone rang. It was her, my mother. Cheerful, performed, hollow. "Oh, honey, we were so worried. What happened? You just disappeared." I didn't respond. "Is everything okay?" Still nothing. And then, the real question, the only one that mattered. "Where's the bag?" The line went quiet. I could hear her breathing on the other end. Sharp, shallow, calculating. She was waiting for an explanation. A crack in my voice. A hint of regret. An opening to step through. But I didn't give her one. Instead, I said it. Steady, level, without venom, but sharper than any scream. "We dropped it off at your house." Pause. Then I added, "If it was that important, maybe you should have taken it yourself." There it was. No shouting, no confrontation, just a truth so clean, so razor sharp, it cut through every lie she had built around herself. She didn't deny it. She didn't ask what I meant, because she knew. She knew what had been in that bag, and she knew I knew. The silence between us stretched tight like a wire about to snap. Then I spoke again. Calm, controlled, final. "We're not doing this. Don't call again." Click. That was it. No dramatic goodbye, no final plea, just a line drawn and a door shut forever. 3 days later, I showed up at school like always. Coffee in one hand, car keys in the other. And the teacher smiled at me like nothing was wrong. "Oh, they were already picked up," she said. "Your parents said you asked them to." I didn't move, didn't blink. My stomach dropped. No, 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 no. I don't remember the drive to their house. I remember the steering wheel shaking under my hands. I remember the sound of the engine like a heartbeat too loud. When I pulled into their driveway, my hands were ice. My breath was gone. And inside looked like a birthday party exploded. Balloons, cake, toys everywhere. A Lego set still in pieces on the floor. The kids laughing, wild-eyed, sticky with frosting. Like this was Disneyland. Like nothing had ever happened. Like I hadn't just told them never to come near my children again. My mom was slicing cake. My dad was building something with the youngest. There was music playing, cheerful, bright, wrong. This wasn't love. This was a performance. A set. A trap dressed as kindness. And every gift, every ribbon, every smile was a bribe, wrapped in sugar. I stood in the middle of that over-decorated room, surrounded by balloons, gift wrap, and frosting on the walls. My children were spinning with sugar and toys, their eyes wide, their smiles blinding, but not real. It was too much joy, too many colors, too much noise. It didn't feel like a party. It felt like a distraction, a cover-up, a lie. I turned to face them, my parents, still playing their parts like they hadn't just violated every boundary I had set. "What is this?" I asked, voice low. My mom gave a bright, rehearsed smile. "Just a little surprise. We missed them." My dad added, "We thought we could clear the air." Clear the air? Like this was a misunderstanding. Like this was about a disagreement, not about trust, shattered beyond repair. And then it came out. Not screamed, not dramatic, just true. "This isn't love," I said. "This is strategy." They blinked, like they didn't expect me to see it, to name it, because naming it made it real, made them real. My mom's smile twitched. My dad's hand froze mid-construction. The game was up, and I was done playing. They were still frozen, my mom with her knife halfway through the cake, my dad sitting like a mannequin next to the Lego pile. And I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I didn't curse. There was no need to. Because one sentence, just one, would do more than any scream ever could. I stepped closer, looked at both of them, and said, "You didn't just betray me. You risked your grandchildren's lives." The air in the room collapsed. Even the music, so cheery before, sounded like it didn't belong here anymore. My mother's lips parted as if she was about to say something, but nothing came out. Because what do you say to that? What excuse could possibly undo it? My father looked at me, then looked down. Ashamed or just caught. It didn't matter anymore. I wasn't waiting for answers. I wasn't interested in explanations. What they did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice. Calculated, cold, and unforgivable. And with that one sentence, I buried the version of family I grew up believing in. I gathered the kids, one by one. Shoes half on, party hats still tilting on tiny heads. They didn't understand, not yet, but one day they would. I didn't scream at my parents, didn't curse, didn't list the reasons. They already knew. And honestly, I was tired of explaining things to people who didn't want to understand. At the door, my mom called out, "Claire, don't do this." I turned to her, looked her right in the eyes. "We're done," I said. "No more visits, no more calls, no more access to my children." She gasped like I'd slapped her, but this wasn't violence. This was clarity. My dad opened his mouth to speak, but I didn't wait. I walked out, kids in tow, no looking back. That night, I blocked their numbers, all of them, deleted the group chats, unsubscribed from the guilt, and for the first time in years, I slept. Not with peace, not yet, but with boundaries, and that was better than peace. We didn't make an announcement, no grand speeches, no dramatic social media posts, just one quiet U-Haul, 3 sleepy kids, and a GPS that pointed south, North Carolina. It wasn't on our dream list, but it felt anonymous, soft, like a blank page with just enough sunlight. Sam handled the logistics. I handled the tears I didn't let the kids see. And once we got there, into a small town with winding streets and friendly silence, we started again. The kids laughed more. Sam slept through the night. I began to feel my jaw unclench. We found a house with a creaky porch and backyard swing. Every night we sat outside as the sky faded into cotton candy. No yelling, no guilt trips, no "where's the bag" phone calls. For the first time in my adult life, peace didn't feel like something I had to earn. It just existed. And maybe that's what healing is. Not a moment, but 100 small choices to keep breathing in the silence. It was a Tuesday. The kids were painting pine cones in the kitchen. Sam was reading something on the porch. I hadn't thought of them in weeks, until the subject line popped up like a ghost on my screen. Emergency, read now, from my sister. I hesitated, clicked. Claire, Mom and Dad got caught at the border. It's bad. They tried to do it themselves this time. 4 years minimum. We don't know what to do. Please call. My hands didn't shake. My heart didn't race. Just a strange, dull silence. They did it again. But this time, they didn't have anyone to sacrifice. No daughter to charm. No grandchildren to use. No car to hide behind. Just themselves. I closed the laptop, let out a long breath, and said nothing. Sam glanced at me. Everything okay? I nodded. Yeah, just spam. That was the truth. It was junk now, and I didn't need to open any more of it. I opened my email again the next morning. One new message. From her. They're asking for you, Claire. They need your help. They said maybe you'd forgive them now. Please, just respond. I stared at it for a full minute. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew exactly what not to feel. I didn't feel guilt, I didn't feel pity, and I didn't feel hate either. Just clarity. So I typed. I did show up once. I'm not doing it again. Then I hit send. Blocked the address. That was it. No grand monologue, no firestorm of words. Just a clean, quiet goodbye that would echo louder than any screaming ever could. They gambled with my family. They lost. And this time, I wasn't the one paying the price. It took me too long to learn that family isn't always safe. We grow up being told that family is everything, that blood is thicker than water, that no matter what happens, you forgive, you forget, you make excuses because they're your parents. But here's the truth. Love without limits isn't love. It's control. Forgiveness without accountability isn't healing. It's surrender. And family without safety, that's not family. It's a trap. My parents didn't protect me. They used me. They didn't love my kids. They used them too. And if I hadn't listened to that one sentence, turn the car around, now, I might still be stuck in that illusion. So no, I don't hate them, but I don't miss them either. What I miss is the idea of parents I never actually had. And finally, I've stopped waiting for them to become those people. I don't regret the line I drew. There's no need for revenge, no desire for punishment, just a quiet craving for peace. Boundaries aren't walls built to shut people out. They are armor. Armor that protects what's precious, my children, my marriage, my sanity. Setting limits isn't cold or cruel. It's love. It's respect. It's survival. When I say no, I'm saying yes to myself, to my family's safety, to a future free from fear. I'm not breaking ties out of hate. I'm building a life on truth. And that's the strongest kind of love I know. So here I am, standing at the edge of a long, winding road, the road I chose to walk away from. I made my decisions. I drew my boundaries. I said, enough. But sometimes when the silence settles and the dust starts to clear, I wonder, did I go too far? Did I close the door too hard? Did I leave too many things unsaid? Did I shut out the people who deserved better? Or did I not go far enough? Did I give too many chances? Did I tolerate too much? Did I hesitate when I should have been firm? Because the truth is, there's no easy answer. Family is complicated. Love is complicated. Pain is complicated. Maybe you've been there. Stuck between the love you feel and the safety you need. Caught in a storm where every choice feels like the wrong one. I don't have all the answers. I never claimed to. But what I do know is that healing isn't linear. It's messy and slow, and sometimes it hurts more than you thought it would. And the bravest thing you can do is to keep choosing yourself. So what about you? Have you ever had to draw a line so hard it felt like you were breaking apart? Or maybe you're still searching for the strength to do it. I want to hear your story. Let me know in the comments, because none of us are alone in this. And if you're new here, please hit subscribe, because this journey, our journey, it's far from over. Sometimes the hardest love we can give ourselves is setting boundaries, clear, firm, and unapologetic. Family doesn't always mean safety. Blood ties don't justify betrayal. True healing begins when we choose peace over pain, truth over illusion, and self-respect over sacrifice. Remember, protecting your well-being isn't selfish, it's essential. And by honoring yourself, you create space for genuine love to grow. If this story touched you, if it made you think about your own boundaries or family struggles, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Through Her Eyes. Join our community of strength, healing, and honest conversation. Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a story that might change your life or someone else's.